Senator Lindsey Graham was at the Munich Security Conference over the weekend. He's with us now. And Senator, good morning to you. What do you make of the events and what happens next?
Well, yesterday, I think it was February the 21st, 2022, in the eyes of President Putin of Russia, Ukraine no longer exists as a sovereign, independent nation. He basically declared to the world that Ukraine is a puppet state, a colony of the West, and he doesn't recognize it as an independent nation. That should send chills up everybody's spine. I want to remind the world and the American people that in 1994, Ukraine had the third largest nuclear weapons inventory in the world after the collapse of the Soviet Union. They signed an agreement with the Russians, the British, and the United States where they would give up their nuclear force in exchange for a guarantee of sovereignty by Russia regarding Ukraine. And when that agreement was signed in 1994, Crimea and the Donbass were considered to be part of Ukraine. And in that agreement, there was a pledge by Russia not to threaten Ukraine with force. So Putin tore up that agreement, as Hitler did in the 30s, and we're in a very bad spot in the world right now.
Do you have an idea as to why the White House last night called the actions by Putin an incursion, and then this morning, as of 9:02 a.m., was calling it an invasion?
Well, number one, we need more Churchills and less Neville Chamberlains. The West, particularly led by the Biden administration, has had a Neville Chamberlain approach to Putin, to Iran, to many other areas. So why did they call it an invasion? Because it is, and it was an unsustainable concept. Putin has declared parts of the Ukraine independent, no longer part of the sovereign nation of Ukraine. If that's not an invasion, what is? Peacekeepers don't come in tanks. They've occupied the Donbass in violation of the Minsk agreement, so I'm glad to see they've changed. I'm glad that Germany is now going to decertify Nord Stream 2, which is a cash cow. Marco and Newt are right. We should turn on Keystone Pipeline. We should export liquefied natural gas to Europe to help them regarding their dependency on Russian oil and gas. We will not do that. We should secure our southern border. Before I went to Munich, I spent 3 days in Israel and 3 days in the United Arab Emirates. What did I learn? That terrorism is on the march, that Afghanistan is growing in terms of terrorist influence. They're headed to America, and our border is broken. We're not going to do anything about the border. We're not going to try to become more energy independent. We're not going to help Europe because Joe Biden is in a box when it comes to the left.
Senator, just a quick flashback. Here's President Biden on February 21st, 2020, just about 2 years ago. Vladimir Putin doesn't want me to be president. He doesn't want me to be our nominee. If you're wondering why, it's because I'm the only person in this field who's ever gone toe-to-toe with him. How has that turned out?
It's turned out terrible for the people of Ukraine because when Putin looks at Biden, he sees Neville Chamberlain. We only have one president at a time. I stand ready to work with President Biden to do an emergency supplemental. I've been on the phone with several Democratic Senate colleagues who are willing to help Ukraine in terms of cyber attacks. They're willing to flow more assistance into Ukraine. We need to be doing a lot of things. We should create a task force, the Department of Justice, State, and Treasury, to go after Putin's oligarch friends who benefit from these misadventures. So, unfortunately, Joe Biden is not going toe-to-toe with Putin. He's getting run over by Putin, and the Iranians are watching, and the Chinese are watching. So to President Biden, if you want some help in Congress, in the Senate, to be tougher against Russia, I stand willing to help you. If you continue this appeasement track, I will be your worst nightmare.
Senator, we'll see what happens next. Lindsey Graham with us today. See you back in
you.
Washington, D.C. Thanks for your time.